this message is for. So that's all I have today. The Bible says in the last days that the old and the young shall come together. We tend to look at old and young in age, elderly and youngin, the elderly and the children. But we're gonna look at old and young and volume of wealth. And we're gonna bring the rich and the poor together. We're gonna connect the rich and the poor. If the rich takes care of the poor will take care of the rich. And this is something that's already being done. This is something that's already being done, but it's not being implicated among our culture of a people. This is for your Jay-Z's, your Meek Mills, your Sean Puffy Combs, your Kanye Wests, your T.I.'s. This is for your Beyonce's. This is for your Oprah Winfrey, your Magic Johnsons, your Michael Jordans. This is for your LeBron James. This is for your Stephen Currys and your Kevin Durant's. This is for this is for Draymond Green. This is for all over. I just named a few names out there that's in that status of $100 million or more, where it really won't hurt an individual to invest 10% of their 100 million into the poor, where they will receive a return. They will receive a return on the investment versus you give your money to a charity to feed the poor, and you don't get anything in return. You don't even get a notice of knowing if the money that you're investing into this charity, if it's actually going to the charity. This is something that will have to be set up by law. You would have to have a lawyer in place. You would have to have insurance in place. In order for this to be effectively done correctly, it will have to be exactly the way the bank does it. Your monies and your contract would have to be insured by a reputable bureau company to ensure and to validate the contract between the lender and the borrower. We're turning the rich, our culture of a rich people, our African American culture of a rich people, into the lenders and not the borrowers. Not to discriminate any other cultures, but this is primarily for all the minorities. This is primarily for all the minorities that is not already doing what's being said, but sitting back and watching it be done. Just imagine a multimillionaire goes and purchases a piece of land or purchases a mansion. That money is just circulating from one hand to a richer hand. Well, today we are coming to turn the tables around. Today we are coming to bring back condemnation. Today we are rising among the people. Today we are becoming more economically empowered. Today we are taking a stand. Today we are applying. We are taking action. Today we are going to rise above what has been unknowingly and unconsciously done. Today we don't have to worry about going to fix a faucet. We don't have to worry about having a phone call saying that the house is leaking. We don't have to put in the hard labor. All we have to do is connect our poor folk with our rich folk. And if we connect our poor folk with our rich folk, then we will allow our people to be able to come together and unite together, where they will be able to compensate and benefit one another. See, that is what the call of today is. We're calling on the rich. We're calling on the wealthy. But we ain't calling on them to just throw their money away. We ain't calling on them to just give their money away. We're calling on them to satisfy what has already been done, and then to receive, come on somebody, and then to receive an interest on what they have put out into the atmosphere. Just imagine if the people hear this message on today that has been placed upon my heart, that has been put out into the universe. If they receive this message, come on, if they receive this message in their hearts, if they really listen to what's being said, because I'm going to say it again, because I don't feel like it's being said the way it should be being said, the way I want it to be heard. I'm going to say it again. Today we are calling on the wealthy. Today we are calling on the old to come together with the young. Today we are calling on the poor to unite with the rich. Now the poor is taking care of the rich because the rich has satisfied what the poor needs. We need a people to come and satisfy a mortgage debt or an auto loan. But we ain't saying satisfied where we don't have to pay anything back. No. That ain't what we saying. We saying to make it affordable so that we can live. Make it affordable so that we can survive. Make it affordable so that we don't go under. And then we'll still be able to live, and the rich will not even have to utilize their money anymore. Because the rich will be able to invest the money that they are receiving residually from the poor. Because if they apply this principle, 10 times, tenfold, they will be shaken and overbreaking. Come on, somebody. I say it again. If they begin to apply this principle 10 times, just think about it. Look at your neighbor and say, I know somebody rich. Look at your neighbor and say, I know somebody that can do it. Look at your neighbor and say, I know somebody. I know somebody. I know somebody. Am I my brother's keeper? Come on. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes. Come on. If my brother sees that I'm struggling, if my brother sees that I'm going under, if my brother sees that I'm just hanging on, I'm just hanging on the strand, I'm just hanging on this string, and I'm trying not to let go. But if my brother just lend me a hand, look at your neighbor and say, if my brother just lend me a hand, if my brother just lend me a hand, then I won't go under the land. If my brother lends me a hand, then I won't go under the hand. Now understand that we all gonna ask, well, if I lend my brother a hand, who's gonna put into my other hand? Well, here's the thing. When you join hands, your hands become double. Come on, somebody. When you touch hands with somebody, your hand become two. If you touch hands with somebody, your hands become four. So if I just lend my brother a hand, then my brother will begin to pour into my other hand. Come on, somebody. If I just lend my brother a hand, then my brother will begin to pour into my other hand. Come on, somebody. If I open up the door for my brother, then my brother will begin to feel the open space that's empty. Come on, somebody. If I just knock, the door shall be open. If I just lend my brother a hand, my brother will begin to pour into my other hand. Come on, somebody. They not ready. Come on, somebody. They not ready. They not ready. They think this some more okey-doke. Some more okey-doke. They ain't hearing what's being said. If you think about it, how is the bank being compensated? Because the bank lends the people a hand. The bank lends the people a hand, but then they take advantage of the hand that they lend. Whoa! I said the bank lends the people a hand, but then they take advantage of the hand that they lend. They hike up the prices. Yes, I ain't scared to say. They make it where we can't survive, where we can't live, where all we can do is go to work and go home. You get a vacation, you can't do nothing because you spent the whole year check to check. You didn't have nothing to spend. But if we cut your 20% down to 5, you got 15% that you can save. So you go from spending $1,500 a month to spending $800. Now you can save $700 if I just lend my brother a hand. They don't hear me on the day. If I just lend my brother a hand, my brother would begin to pour into my other hand. Come on, somebody. If I just lend my brother a hand, my brother will begin to pour into my other hand. This is not something that is not working. It's working all over the world. Every business that has been built most businesses, not every, most businesses, I am in correction on that. Most businesses that has been built has come from an individual that was lended a hand. You look around you, you say, how did Walgreens get built? How did CVS get built? How did Walmart get built? How did Home Depot get built? How did Aldi's get built? How did Harold's Chicken get built? How did JJ's Fish get built? How did Kenny Ribs get built? How did the mom and pop business get built? Maxwell Street, Maxwell Post, how did they get built? How did the grocery store get started? How did the gas station get started? How did the land get started? If I just lend my brother a hand, then my brother will begin to pour into my other hand. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, I know somebody. Say, neighbor, I know somebody. That's all. Now call them up and tell them what you want. Whoa! I say, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I know somebody. Now call them up and tell them what you want. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I know somebody. Now call them up and tell them what you want. If I just lend my brother a hand, come on, come on, then my brother will begin to pour into my other hand. See, they not teaching us what they doing right before our eyes. Even your record companies, they all lending one another a hand. They're not teaching us what they're doing right before our eyes. And we can't seem to figure out how to rise above condemnation. This is why this message is entitled Economic Empowerment. Because if we become economically aware, then we could become economically empowered. If we become economically aware, then we will be able to become economically empowered. Come on. And all it starts with, for the Bible says, to bring unto the storehouse 10% of your earnings. But they're not teaching us where to put that 10% at. But the Bible also says that it will be shaken and overflowing. So why is it that a majority is shaken and overflowing, but the minority is shaken and undergoing? So y'all didn't hear me. Y'all ain't gonna hear me. Y'all ain't gonna hear me. I say, why is it that the majority is shaken and overflowing, and the minority is shaken and undergoing? Because the rich and the poor have not come together. Come on. If I just lend my brother a hand, my brother will begin to pour into my other hand. See, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm just really just thinking to myself how powerful this message is. I don't even know how I came up with it. I was sitting down one day and I said to myself, if I knew somebody that could just lend me what I need to get started, I'll be able to compensate that person. But they make it so hard for us to be able to receive, to accommodate an idea. They make it hard for us to receive. You go to the bank say, you don't meet the qualification. You got a brilliant idea. You have a brilliant idea, but you don't meet the qualifications. Your credit ain't right. You don't have any assets. All you have is a brilliant idea. But if I lend my brother a hand, my brother will begin to pour into my other hand. Where are you putting your 10% on today? Where are you putting your 10%? Is your 10% shaking and overflowing? Is your 10% shaking and overflowing? Is this shaking and overpouring? How much have you been given unto the people around you? Come on. Come on. Come on. When people see you, if you have something that's overflowing, they should be able to receive a percentage of it. Because if you lend your brother a hand, your brother will begin to pour into your other hand. Just think about that. Think about that. Just think about that. Just think about that. It's not hard. It's not hard to implement that thought, that idea. This is for all over the world. This is for all over the world. This ain't just for a certain amount of people. This ain't just for a selective amount of people. We look at McDonald's. See McDonald's? Somebody lended him a hand. And now he's able to pour into the lender's hand. For the Bible says, I'm going to say it again. This is the last time. And I want you to get it this time. If you didn't get it in the beginning, I want you to get it in the end. The Bible says that in the last days, the old and the young shall come together. The old and the young shall come together. But we look at that from a small perspective. We look at that from a small perspective versus a large perspective. We look at that old and young and we look at that as age versus volume versus quality. Come on. Now just think for a moment. Just think for a moment. Just take some time out. Let it resonate in your heart. Let it sink in your spirit. Open up that third dimension of your brain. The rich takes 10% of their earnings and invest that money into the poor by satisfying debts that the poor has. It could be mortgage loans, auto loans, credit loans, educational loans. And then the poor now has the opportunity to consolidate. Now this is being done, but it's not being done on a larger scale. It's being done on a scale that's behind the scenes where we don't see it. It's already happening. But we're not applying it. We're not applying it. It's happening, but we're not applying it. It's time to take action. Look at your neighbor and say, I know somebody. If my brother just lend me a hand, I'll begin to pour into his other hand. That's all I got for today, brothers and sisters. I appreciate you all listening. Hopefully you all received this in your hearts. Hopefully you got some enlightenment out of it. Hopefully you got some education out of it. And don't just take my word for it. Do your homework. Do your research. Make what I said and critique it. Make it better. Make it sound greater. Implement it. Pass it along. Put it out there. Make sure it reaches the hands that it needs to reach so that the hands can be poured into. Peace and love, and you all have a wonderful night. All right.